الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد سيدنا المرسلين إمام المتقين وعلى آله وأصحابه ومن والاه ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين وبعد. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتون إلا وأنتم مسلمون واحتسموا بحبل الله جميعا ولا تفرقوا واشكروا نعمة الله عليكم إذا كنتم أعداء فألف بين قلوبكم فاعتبتم بنعمة إخوانا وكنتم على شفا حفرة من النار فأخذتم منها كذلك يبين الله لكم آياته لعلكم تهتدون. أما بعد. Mr. President, honorable ministers, distinguished ladies and guests, I greet you now with the most respectful greeting. Wa here, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Mr. Chairman, permit me to translate the ayah that I've read. O you who believe, fear Allah by doing all that He has ordered and by abstaining from all that He has forbidden. As He should be feared, obey Him, be truthful to Him, and remember Him always, and die not except in the state of Islam with complete submission of Allah Ta'ala. And hold fast of all you together to the rope of Allah Ta'ala, and be not with divide among yourselves, and remember Allah's favor on you always. For you we are enemy one to another, but Allah Ta'ala join your heart together so that by His grace you become brethren in faith. And you we are on the brink of a pit of fire. Allah Ta'ala said, our president, vice president, ministers and government officials, including security sector. We pray for the service of this formal launching of the first national security policy and strategy of Sierra Leone by His Excellency, the President, Dr. Rita Julius Maada, our President. Shall we say Amen? ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم وتوب علينا يا مولانا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم وعدينا وفتنا إلى الحق وإلى طريق المستقيم ببركات القرآن العظيم وبرحمة من أسرته رحمة للعالمين وعفونا يا كريم وعفونا يا رحيم واغفر لنا ذنوبنا بفضلك وكرامك يا أكرم يا رحيم. اللهم لا تدع لنا ذنبا إلا غفرته ولا هاما إلا فرجته ولا دانا إلا خليته ولا حاجة من حوائج الدنيا والآخرة إلا خليتها برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. اللهم يا مقلب القلوب ثبت قلوب على دينك. اللهم طهر قلوب من النفاق. اللهم طهر قلوب من الرياء برحمتك يا رحيم. ربنا ظلمنا أنفسنا ولم تغفر لنا وترحمنا لنكونن من الخاسرين. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. وصلى الله النبي محمد وعلى آله وسلم تسليما كثيرا وآخر دعواهم وأن الحمد لله رب العالمين. الفاتحة جارة. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا صراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله.
I now want to invite the Chief Chaplain of the Republic of Sierra Leone Armed Forces, Reverend Father Levy, to lead us in the Christian prayer.
Your Excellency, Brigadier Retired Dr. Julius Maada, our President of the Republic of Sierra Leone Forces, and Commander-in-Chief of the Republic of Sierra Leone Armed Forces, permit me to stand on the existing protocols. Today, we dedicate this day for a successful implementation of the framework that is the national security policy and strategy of our nation. As we dedicate this day with love and integrity. May this launch of the framework of our national security survive and flourish with peace, love, and never let them be separated from the protection and love of Christ. And through their service, may peace ensure and enhance sustainable development in our country. We make our prayers through Christ our Lord. The Lord's Prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us today our daily bread, and forgive you all.
To the two interfaith prayer representatives, say thanks for your motivating prayers. I think you added a profound sense of peace and reverence to this occasion. At this juncture, I would like to invite Mrs. Bintu Lavau to introduce the chairman of this event.
Your Excellency, Chairman of the National Security Council, Chief Minister, National Security Coordinator, the Chief of Defense Staff of the Republic of Sierra Leone Armed Forces, the Director General of the National Director General of CISA, the Inspector General of Police, members of the Diplomatic and Consular Corps, ministers of government here present, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. My duty this morning is to introduce the chairman for this event. It is with great honor and pleasure that I bring to your attention the chairman of today's historic occasion for the official launching of the National Security Policy and Strategy, the NSPS of Sierra Leone. Our chairman is a well-regarded individual whose career and achievements reflect his dedication to education, governance, and national development. He possesses an extensive educational background, which is the basis of his well-known career. He earned his PhD in Extension Education from the Ohio State University, United States of America in 1989, with focus on research and program development and analysis, national administration. He also holds a Master of Science with honors in teacher education and research evaluation, along with a Bachelor of Science in Educational Agricultural Education from the Ohio State University. He spent about a decade at the Ohio State University, contributing to research and evaluation in admissions processing for both domestic and international. He further augmented his qualifications with the professional teaching license from the state of Ohio. Beyond his academic credentials, our chairman has amassed a wealth of experience across various sectors, both within Sierra Leone and internationally. His professional journey has seen him serve in numerous capacities, each time bringing his expertise in governance, security, and community service to the fore. He has been deeply involved in strategic initiatives aimed at institutional development. Notably, he was president of the Academic Staff Association of the University of Sierra Leone from 1999 to 2002, and a member of the Jada University Policy Development Team from 2019 to 2020. His administrative role as head of the Department of Agricultural and Home Economics Education, and at some points Dean of the School of Education at Jada University, was instrumental in shaping tertiary institutional policies, strategies, and practices. He also oversaw significant project initiatives for development and productivity that have had a impact on Jada University. For example, he pioneered the development of master's and PhD programs, ensuring that their curricula met international standards. Our chairman has made significant contributions to policy reviews and research, having been actively involved in national peace policy research studies while conducting research trainings. Evidently, he was recruited as a member of the Research and Scientific Committee of the Educational Network for West and Central Africa, and WACA. His contributions include investigating complex conflicts, mediating community operations, and providing counseling services during times of violence. His scholarly work includes various research articles published in reputable journals where he has addressed critical environmental capacity in relation to national security matters and their policy implications for peace and national cohesion. Such policy contributions remain invariably relevant and futuristic. As we proceed with the official launching of the National Security Policy and Strategy, it is my privilege to invite Dr. Joseph B.A. Kande, our chairman, for this momentous.
It is really thrilling to see very peaceful people, particularly at in terms of peace for Sierra Leone. We all should have our hands on deck. Let me move on to my opening remark. But not to skip the key moments of being welcomed. Everyone here, everyone is welcome to be here. We certainly appreciate everyone being here. Now, Your Excellency, Chairman of the National Security Council, the Honorable Vice President, distinguished national community, singling out German Embassy, US Embassy, United Nations, esteemed guests, ladies and gentlemen, it is a great honor for me to chair the official launching of the ceremony of Sierra Leone's National Security Policy. NPS, the NSPS for short, National Security Policy and Strategy, a very important instrument. We look at it from the perspective
of reflecting on Sierra Leone's situation over the decades, beginning in 1991. The NSPS is a crucial element of our national governance framework. It shows the continued steadfastness in the leadership and commitment of His Excellency, the President. This work has been ongoing for some time after the end of the decade-old war and the transformation that followed of the national security. As a profound accomplishment, this maiden yes is particularly noted as culminating in this significant achievement under the leadership of His Excellency, the President, retired Brigadier Dr. Julius Maada. In support of the President's dynamic aspirations, the Office of National Security, in collaboration with the security sector, ministries and departments and agencies, have worked tirelessly to bring the NSPS to fruition, demonstrating exemplary leadership. Such is a resounding display of the leadership of the National Security Coordinator and his colleagues in the security sector. May I say bravo to all of those who took part and contributed faithfully to the development of the instrument referred to as the NSPS. In support of the President's dynamic aspirations, the Office of the National Security, in collaboration with the security sector and ministries, departments and agencies, have worked tirelessly to bring the NSPS to fruition, demonstrating exemplary leadership. Yes, that's very important. I replay it because it's really a focus of the whole occasion. And we must understand that the institution has done a marvelous job. The NSPS typically incorporates factors and enhancing early warning systems. It also focuses on defense and military capabilities and intelligence. The ultimate goal of all this is to usher in peace for a prosperous Sierra Leone. Officially today marks the introduction of the NSPS. We should view this event as the dawn of a new era. Instrumentally, the NSPS serves as a groundwork for our mutual approach to peacekeeping and more. It entails safety and security, along with many indirect benefits, including a thriving and flourishing nation. I call for a nation support and consistent implementation to realize its full potential. With this remark, let me say I have set the stage for us to move forward beyond this introduction. Once again, I welcome you all and look forward to a very productive session. There is always a moment to shift the gear. And when you shift the gear backward, you have to know that you're going forward. So we move on forward. The next program item, and privileged to do so, is to provide the overview of national security policy and strategy of Sierra Leone. Nobody else has to do this but Miss.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Your Excellency, President and Chairman of the National Security Council, representative of the Chief Justice here present, the Chief Minister and Ministers of Government, Excellencies, ambassadors and members of the Diplomatic and Consular Corps, heads and senior members of the security institutions, Director Generals and permanent secretaries of ministries, departments, and agencies, pride and deep sense of responsibility that you present the National Security Policy and Strategy, NSPS of Sierra Leone. A comprehensive framework designed to safeguard our nation and its people. The policy and strategy represents a significant milestone in our ongoing effort in terms of definition, the rationale for developing it, and the process that we are involved. By definition, the NSP includes a wide range of measures and principles geared towards protecting Sierra Leone's sovereignty, territorial citizens. It can also be seen as a long-term unified national strategy stipulating our country's national security vision and how to deliver better state and citizen security. It provides an opportunity to forge a new social contract by the governors and the government. The rationale for the national security policy and strategy is to provide a comprehensive and systematic approach to ensure the protection of national interests of Sierra Leone, its autonomy, socio-economic stability, and the protection of public safety through coordinated, efficient, and proactive measures. Section 18(1)(b)(5) of the National Security and Central Intelligence Act 2023, which repealed and replaced the National Security and Central Intelligence Act of 2002, provides for the National Security Coordinator to be, I quote, responsible for the declaration and maintenance of national security policies, unquote. This legal provision was a compelling factor for the Office of National Security, ONS, to initiate and coordinate the development of the NSPS of Sierra Leone. The development of the NSPS has been driven by a collaborative and inclusive approach and experts from various stakeholders across the country, government agencies, civil society, and our international partners. Our aim has been to create a robust, adaptive, forward-looking strategy that addresses the evolving security challenges of our contemporary world. The process entails a number of stages. This included planning and initiation, pre-drafting assessments, reviews and analysis, drafting, consultation and evaluation, adoption and approval, and now launching to be followed by implementation and then monitoring and review. Your Excellency, the overarching objective of the policy and strategy are the strengthening of our security institutions to preserve national security through the maintenance of law and order, and the protection of lives and property of the Sierra Leonean population. An adjunct to this is to foster effective coordination and collaboration in the security sector and across ministries, departments, agencies, and the civil society to create positive security environment in which fundamental values and principles of state governance can thrive. The policy and the strategy are committed to enhancing our capabilities in defense, policing, intelligence gathering, maritime, disaster risk management, public health and pandemic preparedness, border security, environmental security, climate change, justice sector coordination, gender equality and empowerment, counterterrorism, cyber security, international cooperations and strategy, taking into cognizance regional and global, through cutting-edge training and modern technology and improved resources. Also, the policy gives prominence to human security. This stems from the view that security does not only connote the absence of decrease of threats, but the presence of conditions that allow citizens to live in dignity and prosperity. This includes ensuring access to education, health care, and economic opportunities as expressed in His Excellency's previous and current governance policy objectives. The launch of this NSPS by His Excellency today, in this month of August, and his chairmanship of the UN Security Council for the same August 2024 is a significant coincidence. In essence, the objective and actions outlined in the NSPS can complement and reinforce the goals of the UN Security Council, both aim to create a safer, more stable world through various means, including diplomacy, economic measures, security actions, and international cooperation. At this junction, let me, on behalf of the security sector, congratulate His Excellency on his role as chairman of the UN Security Council for the month of August 2024, and to extol and to also extend my deepest gratitude to him as President and Chairman of the National Security Council for his visionary leadership, untiring support, and strong political will, which have been instrumental for the completion of the NSPS of Sierra Leone. His Excellency had come at a time when his predecessors had tirelessly worked to deliver the NSPS, but without ultimate success. His Excellency's clear directive to me as National Security Coordinator to ensure the completion of the NSPS of Sierra Leone for endorsement and implementation before the end of his second term not only provides the impetus for us to do so, but also highlights the importance he places on national security and governance in the country. Brigadier General retired Kelly Conte, who as founding National Security Coordinator articulated the need for Sierra Leone to have an NSPS and thus provided a foundational direction for this. Past and present leaders of the security sector and heads of ministries, departments, and agencies who either provided some important perspectives into the draft or fielded their staff to constitute a technical working group led by the ONS, to mention a few. My immediate predecessor, late Brigadier General retired Tonja Iwali Toka, and Mr. Ishmael Trawali. At this point, Your Excellency, may I request your permission for us to rise and observe a few minutes silence in honor of the late Jaffa. May his souls rest in perfect peace. Amen. Lieutenant General retired Brahma Bure Sise, currently Director General, National Disaster Management Agency. Retired Inspector General of Police, Mr. Richard Mwebe. Inspector General, Mr. William Fayaselu. Chief of Defense Staff, Lieutenant General Peter K. Laban. Director General, Central Intelligence and Security Agency, Mr. Ansumana Idris. Chief Fire Officer, Mr. Nazi Kamandagongi. Acting Director General, Sierra Leone, Brigadier General Suleiman Masakwe. And my ONS staff and management team, including my humble and hard-working Deputy Dr. Ahmed A. Sano, who on my behalf provides strategic leadership for the national security policy, and my chief of staff, Mr. Francis Langoba Kelly, who serves as the technical lead in the development of the NSPS. My appreciation also goes to all members of the National Security Council Coordinating Group, NSCCG, for reviewing and recommending the adoption of the final draft of the NSPS by the National Security Council. In this regard, we doff our hearts to all members of the NSC, including the Honorable Vice President and the Chief Minister, who brilliantly participated in deliberations before the approval of the NSPS as a document to strengthen our country's path to inclusive security. Finally, our profound thanks and appreciation go to the UNDP Sierra Leone and the ECOWAS Peace and Security Architecture and Operations Project, which is implemented by GIZ with funding from the German government and co-funded by the European Union, for making funding provision for the launch. Counterpart funding was provided by the government of Sierra Leone, and for this, we express our deepest thanks and appreciation. In a special way, I want to recognize Madam Shubata Chansa, technical advisor for GIZ in Nigeria. Can you please stand up? She traveled all the way from Nigeria to witness the launch of our NSPS. She was very instrumental in supporting us and has more outstanding support for the security sector, especially as we get to the phase of implementing the NSPS. To conclude, I wish to invite all relevant stakeholders, government officials, security sector practitioners, development partners, traditional leaders, here are those from the provinces, chairmen of the key sects, civil society organizations, to join us in ensuring the successful implementation of the national security policy and strategy of Sierra Leone when it would have been launched by His Excellency. The national security is a shared responsibility, and our collective effort is essential to upkeeping our country's peace and security. Here, there are promotional items that are coming in the NSPS document itself. We have bags, pens, notepads, a bit version of the NSPS, and a QR code, quick response code, which will enable people to access the NSPS document electronically on the ONS website when it will have been launched by His Excellency the President. Let me thank you all for listening.
Let me thank you in a very special way, Coordinator of National Security. Can we put our hands together again for... Thank you very much. We move on to the next program item, which is statements. The statements are going to be coming from 4 sources. First one is the civil society. Next will be the diplomatic corps, U.S. Embassy, and UN. We would like to invite Dr. Fatou Taki to do the presentation on behalf of the civil society.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, His Excellency the President, and kindly permitting me to stand on existing protocols. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I stand here quite humbled to be asked to make a short statement on behalf of civil society and people in Sierra Leone. I want to firstly congratulate Sierra Leone, actually, and the security sector for the launch of the first policy and strategy of Sierra Leone. It tells us we're moving in the right direction, because when you do have a strategy and you have policies, that's what will guide your steps and your actions to be able to fully and successfully implement. So I want to say congratulations to us all. And I think this is an epoch-making ceremony. It's a very big step that has been taken. I have had a look at the policy itself and the strategy, and it's quite holistic and very inclusive and all-encompassing. And it's what that tells us, and why I am here, in fact, making the statement, is that we all need to take responsibility for this strategy to make sure it's implemented, and implemented fully, and implemented well. Salon, are we all get on? And if we do take responsibility in a lot of the things that come within the policies, in giving them support, all the security sector, in giving them support to implement, then we find ourselves in a peaceful country. And where there's peace, there's development. And where there's development, there's progress. And when all men get colat, we all move together for one cause. And I want to ask that as citizens of Sierra Leone, and we need to love, protect, and embrace Sierra Leone, and do due diligence. Looking at our past history, we always say we don't want to go back, and we surely do not want to go back. And if we're moving forward, then we need to embrace all of these things that are being put together. So I want to say on behalf of this third arm that you've asked me, talking on behalf of civil society, that we would continue to work, pledge to work with you, and to make sure that we all safeguard the stability of Sierra Leone, we make sure that this is not for just a set of people, but for all citizens of Sierra Leone, so that everyone implements, the rule of law is done, so that some people are not seen to be going with that rule and some not. We have to take that responsibility. And we also need to look and protect Sierra Leone land, air, sea, and in the digital space, in the cloud. So I want to say on behalf of civil society, congratulations again. And it's many, many steps forward. And we hope to keep moving forward with this, with the strategy and the policy, and then ensuring that the collateral for we all, peace then we all earn, and we'll continue to embrace that. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for the motherly presentation you just made. One of the mothers of Sierra Leone, I will say. Your voice sounds like a mother that takes care of her children so well that nothing should happen to them. And yes, Sierra Leone should sail on with such mothers, such kind words for Sierra Leone. What else can we appreciate? Let's give our hand. So we move on to the next one. The Diplomatic Corps, Dean of the Diplomatic Corps. Are you here? Yes, of course. Let's welcome her.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Your Excellency, Mr. President, please permit me to stand on existing protocols. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Now, today I'm privileged to speak as Dean of the Diplomatic Corps, and I think it's testament to the importance of this topic that we see the breadth of diplomatic colleagues that are here today. And let me join Dr. Taki in congratulating Sierra Leone on this epoch-making moment. Now, the primary responsibility of any government is to protect its citizens. It might sound straightforward, but it's not. Now, the world is growing ever more fractured, and all countries have got their own unique security challenges, as recent events in my own country, the UK, in Bangladesh, in Nigeria, in Kenya, in Uganda, demonstrate. Now, as we've heard from NS Co-Ord eloquently, having a national security policy and strategy, the NSPS, it will shape the national security architecture. It provides that policy framework for the security sector to deal with any threats to national security as they evolve. Now, as my military colleagues tell me, any meaningful strategy is always made up of three elements: ends, ways, and means. But without the means, this great strategy will not succeed. So I urge the government to invest in the security sector to allow them to deliver the NSPS. And I urge my diplomatic colleagues to continue with their support too. Now, the international community welcomes the publication of the NSPS and supports its strategic objectives that were set out really clearly by NS Co-Ord earlier. Implementation of this, of course, made the very necessary work to take forward the security-related recommendations that were in the tripartite report, which we really welcome attention to. In particular, outlining the role of security agencies in elections, ensuring security is resourced to deliver a comprehensive election threat and risk assessment that addresses the operational planning and needs. Establishment of a civilian-led multi-stakeholder structure incorporating non-security state and non-state actors around monitoring and sharing of data around election violence, ensuring transparency, fostering trust, and reinforcing accountability. And I was really glad to have the voice of civil society in the room today with Dr. Fatou Taki. The assessment of the Public Order Act, bringing that Cyber Security and Crime Act in line with international standards, and the proposed support that they can fulfill their role in crowd management and impartial investigations. We welcome the explicit link made in the NSPS between strengthening good governance and democracy and the solid security of a nation. That's set out very well here. So on the NSPS specifically, I can say with my UK hat on, if I'm allowed to do that briefly, that the UK will support implementation through a number of different ways, whether that's representation on the NSCCG, our routine defence engagement and activity, including the recently announced Maritime Capability Enhancement Programme that's going to equip the Air Force with unmanned aerial systems for the first time. Our Economic Development Programme that supports the economic development of Sierra Leone, resilience and more. Now it's not just the substance that we welcome, I think, in the NSPS, but it's the values and the upholding of which under pressure is critical. The challenge to all governments, including my own, is finding that right balance between deterring security threats and maintaining human rights and civil liberties. It's a tough line to follow. And the ONS is to be commended for making sure that the NSPS acknowledges the importance of civil liberty and for making it a golden thread that runs really clearly through this strategy. And this is the part I urge you to live and breathe as you implement. Without attention to civil liberties and to human rights for all, the consent of the public in any country, my own included, is at risk. And I echo Dr. Taki's comments that there's a collective responsibility too, there's a citizen responsibility to maintain peace and security in Sierra Leone. Now, I tried this in Creole. This is I tried. Security, na the country in backbone, and I work down there, we no follow face. You can understand me clearly. You don't need subtitles. All man at this country, it no matter who that you be or say you come out, all man is security, for go about them business, and for enjoy mama salon, not so. Now this message now for all the security people then they know to easy work, you know easy. If I laugh here deo, now na. If kitty cat a deo, now in because we all man all. So we really, really appreciate the good work we only do. Okay, thank you for the work. Now to close, Mr. President, and his cohort, as Dean I can say, the diplomatic corps couldn't do our job. We couldn't do our job without the peace and security that you all create and that you're committing to here in this strategy. So let me say again, congratulations. Congratulations to all of you. I can see what hard work this has been. We wish you every success in the delivery of the intent of the national security policy and strategy. Thank you.
From the diplomatic corps, qualifying directive for Sierra Leoneans: loving yourselves, holding to the better values, making sure that we hold on to our Sierra Leone, build it up with peace, ensuring that we allow our friends who come in, our allies who join us, are able to do what they want to do for Sierra Leone and for themselves. And together, we join our hands, as she says, we move Sierra Leone forward. It's our labor. Let's make it happen. That's the story. Next, let's have the U.S. Embassy, U.S. Ambassador. Let's welcome him.
There we are. Your Excellency, the President of the Republic, Honorable Ministers and Deputy Ministers of Government, Honorable National Security Coordinator, Honorable Members of Parliament, Heads of Departments and Agencies of Government, Heads of the Security Forces, Ambassadors, High Commissioners, and members of the Diplomatic and Consular Corps, international and private sector partners, other distinguished guests, good morning. Good morning. It is an honor to be with you today at this official launching ceremony for the first ever National Security Policy and Strategy of Sierra Leone. This landmark event represents countless hours of diligent work and deliberation by leaders across the security and political spectrum, intended to modernize and professionalize Sierra Leone's approach to dealing with national security challenges emanating both from home and abroad. It is a clear recognition of the need for all elements of Sierra Leonean society to coordinate and collaborate on issues of national importance, setting aside partisan differences best to address the security challenges facing this country. It is also an opportunity to reflect on Sierra Leone's national security architecture, to ensure seamless coordination across agency lines, to utilize limited human, financial, and technical resources for maximum impact, and to ensure prioritization among multiple competing security challenges. The national security strategy is intended to be a living document, evolving as needed to safeguard the national interests of Sierra Leone. I would therefore offer a few reflections today on its future evolution. First, as a long-standing friend and mentor once told me, if you want to assess the likelihood for violent extremism in a country, ask yourself whether in a crisis the people are running towards the security services or from the security services. Political alienation through governmental repression of human rights and fundamental freedoms stands out time and again around the globe as the most potent recruiting tool that exists for violent extremist organizations, irrespective of whether their underlying ideology is ethnic, political, or religious. The wise decision by Sierra Leonean politicians from all parties to safeguard this nation from such recruitment through continuous investment and reinvestment in the country's democracy, through joint efforts such as the Agreement for National Unity and the Tripartite Commission, is a key part of any national security strategy. We look forward to seeing the reforms recommended through these bodies fully implemented. These include the refinement of the Public Order Ordinance to provide effective safeguards to ensure the right to peaceful assembly, amendments to the Cybercrime Bill to guard against its abuse to repress free speech, the release of all those who may be wrongfully detained, and enhanced independent oversight of security forces to ensure they truly serve the national rather than any partisan or parochial interest. Second, economic security are fundamentally intertwined. As His Excellency often reminds us, a hungry man is an angry man. Growing the economy, addressing the basic human needs of Sierra Leone's population, and ensuring equality of opportunity for all citizens is essential to national security. Departments of government charged with promoting trade, investment, and development need to be seen as part of the national security architecture, included in national security discussions, and resourced appropriately for their responsibilities. Tied in a single garment of destiny, whatever affects one, indirectly, bilateral diplomacy, to ignore the broader trends at play in the West African region and across the African continent. Sierra Leone gives in to these isolationist tendencies that some have advanced at its own peril. Whether it is the growth in violent extremism in the Sahel, the worsening conflicts in Sudan and the Eastern Democratic Republic of the Congo, both across Africa and globally. We have already seen the important role that Sierra Leone can play in both the UN Security Council and the AU Peace and Security Council in advocating for stronger international action to address long-standing crises. I would encourage you to continue to build on this legacy, fully integrating your national values for democracy. Sierra Leone will continue to grow and flourish. Our countries share a common goal of fostering peace, security, and prosperity around the globe. The United States government stands ready to support the institutions of Sierra Leone's security sector in their efforts to enhance capabilities, strengthen institutional capacity, and implement this national security policy and strategy. Together, we can address emerging security challenges, promote sustainable development, and create a brighter future for all.
Sierra Leone is not in a closet. It's in the international arena. And therefore, the directives we get, the advices we get, all of them should contribute to building our moral stance from that which destroys Sierra Leone to that which makes Sierra Leone a better nation. And that's the focus of all the advices we're getting, the instructions and the directions. And we must welcome them. It's imperative that we do. It's for our own good, and that's been echoed. So, we hear it, we welcome it. And thank you very much. Give them a hand, please. The last speaker under this program item, the UN Resident Coordinator. Join us, please. Let's give him a hand.
Thank you very much, Chairman. Your Excellency, distinguished guest, please also allow me to stand on existing protocols. Good afternoon. It's afternoon in the meantime. We commend the consultative process that has taken place on the development of the strategy and its objective to address security challenges and threat while promoting peace and development. Consultation, collaboration, and consensus building between the state security apparatus and citizens are key to sustaining peace and stability. These are the foundations of development, and there cannot be development without peace. Consultation, collaboration, and consensus building are also crucial ingredients of trust. No security apparatus can be effective without creating trust with citizens. We therefore welcome the objective of the strategy to increase the confidence of the population in the state and its institutions. Allow me to quote a sentence from the late former president of South Africa, Nelson Mandela, in fear, end of quote. Your Excellency, consensus building on national security, peace, and stability is a collective task, not only of the security institutions, but also of all members of Sierra Leone society, including national and traditional authorities, religious leaders, political parties and leaders, state and trade unions, and private companies, as well as civil society organizations, who we heard also earlier. In 2022, the UN Secretary General released a report on the role demonstrable human rights compliance, according to the report, is also a key indicator of the professionalism of security forces. A security sector that is not human rights compliant will not gain the trust of the population. We are therefore very pleased to note that the National Security Policy and Strategy provides for strategic national guidance to the establishment of an effective and accountable security institution. At the United Nations, we believe that women and young people have a key role to play in support of the strategy. We welcome an increased mainstreaming of a gender perspective in all aspects of the security sector reform and governance, as well as the removal of legal, institutional, and regulatory barriers to women and young people's equal participation and representation at all levels within the security institutions. The UN in Sierra Leone, together with development partners, who have also spoken, have provided support to the security sector. I'm also happy to note that UNDP is supporting the launching and dissemination of this strategy, which builds on decades of partnership with key justice and security institutions for professional, accountable, and community-responsive security service delivery, and the ONS effort to have a coordinated and democratic approach to national institutional governance of the police force. An amended Police Act will not only synchronize the current police practice with the law, but it will also fully incorporate broader democratic policing principles and ensure constitutional compliance. Furthermore, the United Nations, through the Peace Building Fund, have also provided technical and financial support to the national police and its community policing approach. With the creation of the revolution, bring new challenges to the security segment plan and its objectives, as well as to the new challenges to the security segment plan and its objectives, as well as to the regional security and development environment. And allow me to say, fully committed to continue our support. Thank you very much. Thank you.
We are congratulated to participate the keynote speaker. We only want to look at the next item on the program, and that is related to the skit that we're going to give attention to. Before the skit is up on the floor, the miniature of the event for the occasion, I want to say that we should be quite imaginative and to reflect on our individual situations in some of our communities when issues are different, when things are going the wrong way. What happens? And on that ground, I invite Press Secretary Eketoba Sandy to provide a direction, please. Eketoba. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. That's as we look an error there. Let's acknowledge it. And so the skit.
Yeah.
The skit, as I was saying, is ready to go. Let's open and watch and get our imaginations in full gear for seeing the smaller being the bigger in the nations of Sierra Leone, what happens in the villages and in the towns. Thank you. Let's watch.
Me, the chief, I have never get anybody paper for where they say. Thank God. You know, security, but you get sense. That is it. You did it. You did it. They just go and cut stick there anyhow. Who sign up for evil bill and then they be. Leadership, I don't understand. You go and let people go straight. Then they go the other way. So man, no evil mind, they go that side. Now so evil the border. We don't try for, we don't push security place. People still they boycott. They pass on that water, on that ear, on that stick, we don't know. What's the problem, please? Side evil went off for bill, they go bill. Look that for away. Don't tell me baranda. Somebody don't go block this one day, baby. We flood the canal. People not get. Me auntie they don't go after this year. I call her. I said this guy flood the inside there. He said who the inside goes now. Let's go. Because they don't go big don't block out. What stick there?
Hey, who that they Hamburg chief in matter so? Who that they Hamburg you in matter chief? Who that they Hamburg you?
Papa, this small talk, I want to kill me. I never put it in place. Security business at this store. That prayer point.
Wow.
All the never drivers in the executive. All will put it in place. Even they stick there, enjoy the quarter. We get them today, they cover the village. That's the all. Then what away the way they make today. People they able to drink good water in the village. They might come in them. All no box supper.
Wow.
All.
Okay. Well, UNDP, Everyone's Peace and Infrastructure Operation, GIZ, European Union, and the German government. God bless you.
The skit tells us that when we do not have policies, we have nowhere to turn. But to look at the makeshift policies, and those policies may either be wrong or right for the moment. And for the generality of the future, it may not stand the time of manage them. We who are there know the results. Many times, we end up with the implications of indictments. And all sorts of things happen. Lives may be lost. Blood may be spilled. Where we end is going to be determined. Much of the content of of the policy that they are. We hear the word threats every moment, and we move on forward to say yes, threats have to be dealt with preemptively. That's the truth. Let's hold on to it as a moral value for Sierra Leone. With that, a moment of breath. Most humbly, coming to this particular item, keynote address and formal launch of the NSPS. We have our President, His Excellency the President, Brigadier Maada.
Chairman, I'm not as lucky. You had a very generous introduction. When I grow up, I want to be as lucky as you. Chief Minister, Honorable Ministers of Government, Honorable Members of Parliament, Excellencies, Ambassadors, and members of the Diplomatic and Consular Corps, National Security Coordinator, and heads of security sector institutions present here, our revered past, we always say, is the bedrock of a prosperous and stable society. It underpins economic development, social cohesion, and the overall well-being of the citizens. I therefore welcome all of you to this epoch-making event, as we have all called it, as we officially launch the maiden national security policy and strategy of Sierra Leone. That means this is the first time we are doing it. We are always doing things the first time, 60 years after independence. This launch marks a pivotal moment in our nation's history, as the NSPS document embodies our collective commitment to safeguarding the security, peace, and prosperity of our beloved nation, Sierra Leone. Today, as we unveil this comprehensive policy and strategy, my government is again reaffirming its commitment to safeguarding the sovereignty, integrity, and peace. Ladies and gentlemen, ensuring the safety and security of our nation and its citizens is the first duty of every government. My government takes that very seriously. And although the nature of threats may vary from time to time, our commitment to fulfilling this sacred duty has never changed and will never change. In an increasingly complex and global environment, the challenges of our national security have become multifaceted and dynamic. They change from one thing to the other. This policy provides a robust framework to address these challenges holistically, ensuring a secure and peaceful Sierra Leone. This NSPS is designed to address the multifaceted and evolving threats that we face in today's world. We never knew that what is called social media would be so antisocial that we have to find a way to control it. You know, when we are talking about strategy, the chief and the woman came with labor pain. There is only one strategy to give back. But you forgot to tell her that. You go to the hospital, they know what to do, not to. The threats include border management and security, climate change, disasters, economic security, environmental security, social media misuse, cyber crimes, and transnational organized criminal activities. These predatory security threats call for effective coordination, collaboration, and adaptive response mechanisms across multiple government agencies that leverage external partnerships and also develop prudent capabilities. The NSPS is the outcome of extensive national consultations, as we've heard, involving a lot of stakeholders. It describes the fundamental values that our society must prioritize in providing national security and public safety, balancing security and also human rights. The NSPS takes a holistic and inclusive approach to national security, underscoring the importance of collaboration among various sectors of society. However, in an increasingly interconnected world, no nation can address security challenges in isolation, and therefore we count on our development partners and other countries in the world when we embark on security issues. Therefore, our NSPS emphasizes the importance of regional and international cooperation. We will continue to work with our neighbors and global partners to address cross-border threats and contribute to international peace and security. Security is essential for every citizen's livelihood, access to goods and services, and the free exercise of civil, political, and social and economic rights. The NSPS is a critical step towards safeguarding these rights. It provides a national approach to the planning and development of specialized strategies and budgeting, which will enable us to allocate resources in accordance with security and development priorities. Doing so transparently and in an accountable manner will build citizens' confidence in the security sector. It ensures officials remain accountable to the people and their government and solely operates within the rule of law. Security threats are becoming increasingly dynamic, intertwined, and complex. The manner and procedure through which such security threats are to be perceived, addressed, and assessed have to be collaborative, inclusive, legally appropriate, and meet the expectations of the citizens of their government. This is the standard I think we must strive to achieve in implementing the NSPS. Ladies and gentlemen, the traditional approach to national security focuses mainly on the threat posed to the existence of the nation state and its territorial integrity. It places the security of the state at the core of its priorities. However, these threats are no longer the main source of insecurity. The modern approach to security recognizes that challenges we face are constantly changing and that they are no longer limited to national territories alone. They are both physical and factual and could be coordinated locally or from international territories. Addressing this growing complexity and evolving security threats requires detailed planning and collaboration. It also requires input to be at par with the challenges posed by peace and well-being, posed to the peace and well-being of our citizens. To do this, we must formalize a new strategic approach. That is why my government has fast-tracked the development and launch of this NSPS. The publication of this new overarching security strategy provides a reference point for decision-making in the security sector, enabling effective coordination, alignment of resources, and leveraging of partnerships, prioritization of security threats, and shared understanding of national security vision and objectives needed to address the challenges of an ever-changing global security environment. Ladies and gentlemen, security is a collective responsibility. That was what the chief was saying, and that has been alluded to by so many previous speakers. I therefore call upon all Sierra Leoneans to actively participate in the effective implementation of this policy. We can all do so by staying vigilant, conscious activities, and supporting our security forces. And we understand that security is everyone's business, as eloquently put in Creole by the High Commissioner of Great Britain. By the way, you Creole don't really. Right. With the brain it's Katano Kanaya. When we must understand that security is everyone's business, we can create a safer and more secure environment for all. This is the most important thing. The so-called security sector is a very small group of number of people, but we should all be securities. Every one of us, by staying vigilant, reporting suspicion. That is what I am asking of you, and it is not too much to ask of you. The NSPS sets out the direction we must take to achieve this objective. It enables all elements of the security sector to align their sector-specific strategies and internal policies to accomplish the NSPS's objectives. The new strategy seeks to create a unified and secure nation where our core values and national interests are protected and enhanced. It helps to strengthen our instruments of national strength, which are exercised through leveraging of our diplomatic ties, maximization of our information resources, development of security assets, utilization of our economic potential, collaboration with civil society, and the application of our legal provisions. The NSPS does not duplicate or overlap other existing national security policies, plans, and strategies. Rather, its intent is to strengthen the effective coordination of the implementation of those excellent policies, plans, and strategies. I hope we get this clear too. As we launch this historic document, I call upon all Sierra Leoneans to embrace the vision for a secure and prosperous nation. We must move forward with a determination to eschew all divisive rhetoric and embrace unity and peace. As in the words of late Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr., and I quote, "This is not merely a distant goal that we seek, but a means by which we arrive at that goal." End of quote. Our collective aspirations as a people will remain a mirage in the absence of peace. Likewise, in the implementation of the NSPS, we cannot do it alone without collaborating with other stakeholders and partners. I sincerely therefore thank our development partners for their assistance in developing and launching the NSPS. I also express my heartfelt gratitude to all those who have contributed immensely to the development of the NSPS. Your dedication and commitment have made this day possible, and we don't take it for granted. Ladies and gentlemen, it is therefore my singular honor as President of the Republic of Sierra Leone and Chairman of the National Security Council to officially launch the first national security policy and strategy of Sierra Leone. Thank you.
I want to thank HE, His Excellency, the President, and the diplomatic community represented. The appreciation goes also to civil society, security sector, and all our traditional leaders. So with that, we give the session a healthy hand. Shall we? Let me call Minister Francis Keketoma to provide direction. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I think for this occasion, I'm Francis. Distinguished guests, His Excellency the President has consented for photo sessions, and because of the inadequacy of the space in the conference room, it will be conducted in a designated area outside of the conference room in the following order. We'll have 2 photo sessions. The first photo session will comprise His Excellency the President and leadership of the security sector, namely the ONS CORD, CDS, IG, JFC, Head of Fire Force, DG CISA, Head of Correctional Services, the Minister of Internal Affairs, Deputy Minister of Defense, and they'll be joined by the Honorable Chief Minister. The second photo session will comprise His Excellency the President and development partners, namely Dean of Diplomatic and Consular Corps, representative of the UN Resident Coordinator, Head of European Union, US Ambassador, representative of the German Corporation, representative of the ECOWAS Commission, representative of civil society, Dr. Fatutaki, and they will also be joined by the Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation. May I also advise that all those who have been announced for the photo sessions should proceed immediately out of the conference room after the national anthem, and will be directed to the left side of the corridor and will be supported by the head of audiovisual. I've also been informed that refreshments has been provided for guests. On that note, please rise for the national anthem.